In 796, there was a man born in the Tang Dynasty by the name of Lu Yan. He was born in what is today called Yongle Town in Shanxi province. So that is actually not that far from the capital. If you look it up on Google Maps, it's a 3-day walk to the capital. The legend begins with when he was born in this town, which is a very small town. There's not a lot of people who live there. There were actually all of the villagers heard the sound of flutes playing in the sky. And a white crane flew down, went into his house, and then filled the house with this amazing fragrance. And then outside the windows were these like multicolored clouds that all the villagers and everyone could see. So everybody thought, okay, there is obviously something special about this guy. We don't know what, but there is something special about him born in our shanty little town. Now, he was actually born into a pretty good family, though. So his grandfather was actually in charge of the rites and rituals. So basically what that is in ancient China, since it was based on Confucianism, Confucianism was a way of governing that had structures of the emperor is over everything and like the father of the family is over everything. That's kind of how it's structured. So when the rites and rituals, like for example, we would say in the West, right? You sit down at the dinner table and dad sits there and everybody sits up straight and you hold your knife and your fork and you only start when he starts, right? Like you have all these rules. Well, they had these rules as well. In China, they were just different. And they took it even further because his grandfather was in charge of making sure that everybody in the town followed those actual rules. That was an official government position. So it was not only the rules and the rites and the rituals and all those, he also knew poetry. He was a very civilized and literary man. That's why he was put into that position. That was Lu Yan's grandfather. Now, his father, on the other hand, was actually kind of a military guy. He wasn't in the military. He worked in a police station. Now, he wasn't a police officer, but he was big into martial arts. And he trained since he was a kid. Of course, back then, they didn't have guns or anything like that. So, he used staffs and spears and swords. That is the martial side of things. So basically, Lu Yan was trained by his grandfather in poetry and Confucian ideals, and trained in his father in martial arts. So in China, they have a saying, 能文能武, which basically means somebody who knows how to read books, is very literate, and also somebody who knows martial arts. That is considered to be a complete person. So they were breeding Mr. Lu Yan. They were kind of getting this kid ready to serve on a big official position. So one day when Lu was 20 years old and he was out and about, he was walking around, he was probably out in the mountains somewhere, kind of in the forest, and he met this guy. This guy claimed to be a Taoist Immortal, and he said, "You have the makings of a great immortal. Your destiny is not to live in a golden house, but is to live in a thatched hut, and from there you will become an immortal. So, when you come upon the man by the name of Zhonglí Quán, be sure to listen to him and follow him." Okay, this is when he was about 20. So he heard this and he thought, okay, that's interesting, great, cool. I do like the Tao, I do like cultivation, but I mean, my whole life has been for me to go take the imperial exam and to get an official position in the court, right? Would love to work under the emperor. So he goes and takes the imperial exam. He keeps studying. He kind of remembered that, kind of forgot it. He goes and takes the imperial exam, but then he doesn't pass. He doesn't do very well. Okay, so he goes back, he studies more, he works. He goes back a second time. He doesn't pass again. You have to understand, his whole family has put all their hopes in him becoming an official. Grandfather, father, and they've been teaching him poetry and martial arts and everything, making him the perfect person, bringing his family up, raising their status. They have so much hopes in him, and he has already failed the exam twice. So he is going for his third and final attempt, right? And as we mentioned earlier, it takes a few days to walk there, so he's traveling out there, and he comes to a tavern. He says, okay, I'm going to spend the night in this tavern. He goes in, right, so it's one of those places where it's they've got the hotel rooms up above, and then they have the bar and the restaurant below, right? It's got the wooden benches, just the real old-timey feel. He goes in and he says, I need a drink. I am not, this is not working out for me. So they get him the cup, they pour him the wine, he goes, sits down, he's just sighs and takes a sip, right? And as he's sighing, he hears somebody from behind him say, "Oh, you seem to be very woeful. You seem to not be having a good day. Why don't you tell me the problem. Tell me all about it." And so he looks at the guy. First of all, he's wearing a tunic, but it's like a low-cut tunic. So you see his chest hair. He has a tuft of chest hair coming out. He's got his pant legs all rolled up, and he's wearing sandals. And believe it or not, back then it looked just as silly as what you're thinking it looks now. he kind of stood out, but Lu was like, you know what? Yeah, sure. Have a seat, have a drink. Let's talk. And so he starts to tell him all about, going and taking the exam and all the hopes in his family. And then, the guy's just sitting there listening, and he's going, okay, that's interesting. Hey, but here's another idea for you. I'm just going to throw this out there. I am actually a Taoist cultivator. My name is Zhongli Quan. Would you be interested? I see that you have great potential in learning the Tao, learning the way. Would you be interested in going with me into the mountains and cultivating? And, right, Lu had thought about this before. This is something that he'd always kind of wanted to do, but at the same time, he had such great pressure from his family, and he was already deep in, right? He had tested twice already. He can't just up and leave. And so he was very conflicted because that was an interesting proposition, but I can't just up and leave. And so the Taoist said, you know what, that's okay. Just relax. I will go to my room. I'm going to go chill. I'll leave you alone. But I will give you this parting gift. Okay, so I'm going to give you a pillow. Here's a pillow. You know what? No hard feelings. It's fine. Maybe we'll see each other sometime in the future, right? And so he goes, he gets a little bit of something to eat, and then he heads back to his room with the pillow. He's like, you know what? I'm exhausted. I had a long day of travel. I met this weird guy, whatever. I'm going to go take a nap. So he takes the pillow, he goes and takes a nap. He falls asleep. In his dream, it's the next day, right? And he goes to take the imperial exam. And he doesn't just pass the imperial exam. He absolutely crushes it. He crushes it so much that he becomes one of the highest ranking officials there is. He becomes the chief minister for the emperor. That means he works directly under the emperor, which also means he gets an amazingly beautiful wife. So he gets this beautiful wife, they get married. This is all in his dream, remember? They get married, they have kids. He has, of course, many sons because sons are the whole thing in ancient China. That's what passes on the lineage. And then those sons have grandsons, and each one more capable than the last, all raising the status of the family to just this great, powerful family. And he's everything. He's got everything. He has fame. He has money. He's got the girl. He's got his sons and his grandsons. His name will live on. Oh, he's got it all. Yes. But then the other ministers go, you want to know what? No, this guy's too much. This guy is too much. Let's band together and let's take him down. Let's get this guy. Okay, so it's still in the dream, remember. They all get together and they frame him for treason, right? The worst thing, right? And his whole family gets slandered. Slandered to the point that all of his sons are rounded up and his grandsons, and they are all executed. And then they go to his family shrine and destroy it. So he will not have any future, and all of his past, his ancestry is gone as well. Family is gone. It is totally gone. No one will remember his name. He gets exiled, and he dies by himself. Nobody gets to go with him. And then he wakes up from the dream. Lu woke up from a cold sweat. He jumps out of the bed. He says, oh my gosh, I need to go down and find this guy. I wonder if he's still here. So he runs down the steps, goes straight to the bar, looks all around. And then he sees over in the corner, right next to the window, looking out at the mountain. There's a little bit of clouds out there. He's sipping his morning tea. Zhongli Quan is sitting right there. And he runs over to him. And before Lu can say anything, the Taoist Immortal says to Lu, "You have lived an entire lifetime in one night." He then begins to describe back to him everything that happened in his dream, right? And from that point, he was sold. He said, "Yes, this is, please, I am begging you. Please, I need this practice." So from that point, Lu was in tears, right? He said, "From now on, I have no interest in riches and fame and status, all of that. I don't care anymore. I just want to cultivate the Tao." And then something came over him, a wave, and he said, "I am now going to change my name. From this day forth, I will be known as Lu Dongbin." So Lu is still his family name. Dong means cave or cavern, and Bin means guest. So guest as in he was here at the inn. This is where he first really started on his path on the Tao, but it also means that he is just temporarily here in the human world. He's just stopping by. The human world to him is just an inn. It's just a hotel. He's just stopping by, And in this case, he's planning on going to a cave. So then the Zhongli Quan, the Taoist, and now Lu Dongbin step out of the tavern, and he says, "Okay, what do I do? What's my first thing?" He says, "Well, we have a few issues we need to deal with. First of all, you are not very strong. You did martial arts in the past, yes, but you have been so focused on your studies, your body has grown weak. At the same time, since you've been thinking about this test and you've been trying to, get this status and get all this, all of that is still in your mind. You maybe have given up, but your mind is still a mess. So what you first need to do, you go off into the mountains, find a cave, and you clear your mind. Just let go of all the stuff. Let go of all the complexity, all that stuff that you've been dealing with for your whole life. Train your body physically, and when you're ready, I will come and find you." So Lu immediately trekked up into the mountains, right? He built himself a thatched hut. Now, if we remember, that was the prophecy from a Taoist Immortal that he met back a while ago. He went, he built a thatched hut, he trained his body, he let go of his mind, he meditated, he did everything he could. And then one day, Zhongli Quan came, saw him in the thatched hut, saw him working out, getting totally ripped, and saw that his mind was clear, he was meditating, he basically was levitating at that point. I mean, maybe not really, but he was basically levitating. And he was like, okay, now you are ready. What we are going to start with, your first training is going to be in alchemy. All right. So what I am going to first teach you is how to turn stones into gold. A simple rock, you can turn that into a golden nugget. And then Lu Dongbin said, "Okay, that's cool. I didn't know we were going to learn that, but cool. That's very cool. Then he asked, does it stay a golden nugget forever, or does it ever go back to the stone?" And he says, Zhongli Quan says, well, after about 3,000 years, it will then revert back to a stone. And Lu Dongbin immediately says, then I don't want to learn that. The reason is, if I do that, then these might trick people, and they will use these gold stones to do bad, these gold nuggets to do bad things, and then it will turn back into stone. This could potentially harm people, not help people. And Zhongli Quan, with his new student, bowed his head and said, "You have a better understanding of the Tao than I do." They continued his training, and he got rid of all attachments and desires and did all kinds of alchemy and meditation and everything like that. And Zhongli Quan said to him, "Your training is now finished. You have now achieved the status of immortality," right? So you basically, what that means is you not only can live forever, your body has transcended the human form. It also includes your mind. Mind and matter are the same thing to the Taoists. So if you have gotten rid of all attachments, all desires, everything that's connecting you to the mortal world, all of these, more of the thoughts, you have gotten rid of that. You have elevated your body to a divine status. You will not die now. You are sort of a man, but not really. You have surpassed a man. You have, in what Chinese and what they call zhenren, which would be a true person or a genuine person, a realized person, somebody who is now perfected, a perfected person. And so Zhongli Quan says, I am an immortal as well. I'm going to go back to this heavenly land over here. It's really great. Everything's awesome. The fruit, oh my goodness. It is. So you think the fruit here is good. Come with me. Let's go chill. And Lu Dongbin says, that sounds very tempting. Thank you. But this journey, I will not go with you because my journey really has just started. I need to bring the Tao to the human world. I need to help and fix what's going on here, right? That is my path. I have so much more that I need to do. And Zhongli Quan says, you will accomplish much greater things than I ever could, right? This is coming from an immortal. That's pretty good if you ask me. So Zhongli Quan goes on his way and Lu Dongbin starts his journey back into the human world. All right, so that's it for today. If you would like to hear more of these stories, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to tell more of these stories. They are amazing stories that will uplift us. And maybe we too can become more enlightened and immortal like our good friend Lu Dongbin. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe, please like, please share this video with your friends and family. I will see you next time. 再见.